Hello everyone, Gaara here and welcome to a brand new deck tech video. Today I'm going to talk about the Grinders Mage that I'm playing on ladder a lot recently, and you have seen me playing it similar version in the ESL League, and yeah, also when I stream. Many people are asking about this deck, and well, originally it is from Strivecrow. Like, I got the idea from him. He's playing many different mage versions. Like, he's playing a lot of mech mage and freeze mage and all sorts of stuff, and he also plays like a value mage. He calls it like the grinders mage. It grinds out your opponent out of resources. Like, oftentimes the games goes to fatigue, but other times you just don't need to go to fatigue just because your opponent is out of cards, and you just win with the minions you have like on board. Yeah, you just grind your opponent out of resources. Like, I changed many cards in this deck, like back and forth. I tried out many different cards in general, and this is like the version I am using right now. I'm going over the deck list here. I'm playing the double zombie chow. For quite some time I tried to playing without zombie chows. Like in the tournament, I'm also playing without zombie chows. It is zombie chows are obviously a good card against aggro decks and weaker cards against control decks, because like also when you echo, because I play double echo with this deck, it's like yeah, it's a core card in this deck. Um, you just keep healing your opponent back to full. So this is like in some matchups, like against handlock, sometimes it's really bad because it has to go to fatigue in that scenario, because handlocks play a lot of heal, and you keep healing him with zombie chows, and when you echo them or duplicate zombie chows, you just give him even more heal. So he has no he's never in danger of dying, and you don't play fireball, so only frostbolts are the direct damage, so there's only a little direct damage in this deck. I like for ladder, like for tournaments, I prefer to not play the zombie chows, but for ladder, because I face many Zeus hunters and paladins, a lot of aggro decks, I prefer the zombie chows, and zombie chows are not that bad for echoing just because they're super cheap. When you echo a board like 3 minions or so, you just get additional zombie chows. It's not too bad. Yeah, the problem is that the games will go longer just because of the fact that you heal your opponent, but in general it's like a 2-3 minion, which is not too bad for 1 mana. So, and you don't really care because your opponent has to use resources to kill him. Like, even though he gets healed, he has to use cards. So it is a good card in both matchups, but you can tech the deck specifically for heavy controls, and then you don't really need the zombie chows. You can play like other cards like double second BGH and stuff like that. Frostbolt's also early game removal card. It's a very good card for 2 mana. 3 damage is really good. It's like a dark bomb with a freeze effect. So sometimes you don't have an answer for like a Dr. Boom or like a big minion, and then you can like start dealing damage to it and ping it, and then just to set up a flame strike, so you can kill a big minion with flame strike. So it's not just an early game removal, but it can be used like in multiple ways. Double owl as a silence. The thing is that this card is very cheap, like the zombie chow, and oftentimes when you plan to echo, you can just use the owl on top of it, like just to get like a minion on board, a cheap minion on board. You can silence something to kill off like a hound creeper or whatever, when you want to use echo anyways, and then you just get the owl back. So it's a very cheap card. Silence, very useful effect in so many matchups. When you play against paladins, almost everyone plays Sylvanas, Tyrions and Karens, and like so many cards to silence. When you play against handlock, you have to like beat them to fatigue. It's very important to silence the Twilight Drakes, for example. Very important card. Also against aggro decks, it's a very strong card. It deals with Nerubian Eggs, Undertakers, Mad Scientist, Haunted Creepers, all the annoying cards. So it's a very strong card. Mad Scientist, another cheap early game minion. So you have like plenty of options to mulligan for in the early game, because usually this deck is very hard to mulligan. You have the Mad Scientist and the Zombie Chows and the First Bolts. Mad Scientist is just a very solid card overall. Gives you something to play early on in the game. It gives you like free secrets, which is very good because Mage has the strongest secrets in terms of mana costs for the Mad Scientist. yeah, whatever minion secret you get, the duplicate or the mirror entity is usually very strong. It sets up sometimes a very strong echo board, and yeah, it just helps you win the board control, because like your opponent plays a minion and you get it for free because you get the secret from the mad scientist, like the mirror entity, and then you play your minion on curve, and then you can trade off his minion you summoned with mirror entity, and then you already have board control, and then you fight for board control, and then you can set up an echo, just get the minions back from board, and so on. You don't really care how your opponent removes them, just because you get like the card advantage out of it. It's very strong. And same with duplicate, basically. If you get minions back, it doesn't oftentimes doesn't really matter which one you get back, except it's Owl. Sometimes Owl is really weak, and you just want to have a body on board your opponent has to kill somehow. BGH very important in this metagame. So many strong minions. Dr. Boom is like a staple card in most decks, even in aggro decks. You will always find a target for it, and when you play against Handlock, you can just like play BGH plus duplicate or BGH echo and just get the BGH back and BGH multiple giants. So very important. Mind control tag. It's very tough to play against this deck because you have the duplicates and the echoes. You don't want to give your opponent duplicate value, obviously, and obviously you don't want to give him echo value, and you can't overextend the board because of MC tag and your board clears like Blizzard and Flame Strike. So it's very difficult to play around all cards. You play all the situational cards and play the BGH, you play the MC tag. I even added recently the Kazan Mystic. It's very strong in a mirror match because a lot of people play Fatigue Mage, and you will just win the Fatigue, and against Hunters. You face so many Hunters on ladder, it's unbelievable. And this gives you really a big edge when you steal your opponent's secret, and you can just copy it or duplicate the Kazan Mystic and just steal all the secrets, and then he has almost no chance of winning the game. I played the Harrison Jones, the Sylvanas, Black Knight, all the situational cards, and it's very difficult to play around everything. And so MC Tech is also against Paladin especially, and Zoo, a very strong card because they have to spam the board with minions, because that's their only way to win. As soon as you have board clear, they can't recover. So it's a very strong card. You might as well play 2. I think Striveko is playing 2 right now. It's a very strong card in this deck, but it's a situational card as mentioned. Otherwise it's just against control decks, it's just a free body against warrior, for example. Echo, the core card of this deck. Yeah, you wanna get at least 2 or 3 minions out of this card. Oftentimes you get like a BGH plus, I don't know, Owl, Zombie, Chow. It's like just to refresh your hand with stuff your opponent has to deal with. It's but the goal is to copy cards like Cairn, Sylvanas, Sludge Belchers, because they're just super strong, super sticky minion, especially Cairn. If you copy Cairn, just play another Cairn. It's just insanely hard for your opponent to deal with. Water Elementals, very strong card for 4 mana. It freezes your opponent, especially when he plays weapons, can be very annoying. It's also very sticky on board, and it's very likely that you will copy this card. It's one of the main cards to copy, because it's just so hard to be killed. Antique Healbot just to stabilize against aggro decks, very important to play too. I tested a little bit with the 3 mana, what's its name? Yeah, Illuminator. But the card is too situational. Oftentimes you don't have secrets, so just because it's very clunky, you have clunky hands with this deck, and when you have double Antique Healbot in your hand and you're at full life, you don't want to play them, but it's still very important against aggro decks and against Alexstrasza decks to play Antique Healbot. One Shield Drake just to refresh your hand. I cut the Acolyte just because I didn't like it too much. Shield Drake oftentimes very nice just to play it, because when you run out of cards, you don't even always have the echoes. I play 1 sheep. Just additional heart removal against. I have big problems against paladins. This is like the hardest matchup, so I wanted to have like an additional answer to Sylvanas Centurion, besides the silences, because the silences don't kill them. Harrison also because of paladins, and it's a very nice card against rogues and warrior as well. You just play it, and sometimes you duplicate it, and it's like a very big threat. And also, like, if you just have it as a body against druids or something, it doesn't really matter. It's just minion. Sludge Belcher is a very core card, a nice synergy with the duplicate, because This is like the main minion that will be duplicated because people will not kill the other minions. They will try to play around duplicate. Blizzard is a recovery tool, same with Flame Strike. This is like a little bit faster. So very good against Zoo. The 1 mana difference is a big deal. I used to play 2 Flame Strikes, but it's too slow. Like, I rather play 2 Blizzards, just because it's a little bit faster, it's very important. Oftentimes you're just dead by turn 7. So Kayn, Sylvanas, Black Knight, the core cards, you can deal with, like, almost everyone plays a Sludge Belcher, like the main 2 cards to get echo value from. Very nice deck, and yeah, it's very fun to play. I play it a lot, and I'm also gonna show you some games.